Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Sharifa, and my poetry name is New Lily. If you're new to my channel, please check out the links located in the description box and comment section. And in both locations, you'll find an identical set of links. Links that lead to videos that talk about what started my targeting in 2020, as well as links that lead to videos that share information about the targeted individual program. Information about the technology used on targets, the tactics used on targets, and information about the program in general. Welcome back, y'all. I know I told y'all the next video would be me taking the breath test, right? I told y'all this would be the next video and hopefully it would be on camera. I have not yet gotten a laptop. That's first of all. But also, second of all, the breath test has not reached yet. So I'm waiting for that to come in the mail. And as promised, I will take a live on-camera breath test with you all. And again, I know it's nonsense, but it's just to prove, like I said, that that's just a tactic being used. Because even if it is just, like I said, a tactic, it is still something that you would want to clear up. That's so embarrassing, right? So I am going to make a video about that. And other things too that I want to talk about where I want you to see my face, because it's just been a while since I've made an on-camera video. It's been a long time. And I've been wanting to do that, y'all. And all of my videos, for those of you that are OG subscribers, I know you remember were on camera. So that whole situation happened last year. The computer I was using got confiscated. And all of my videos with me on camera got deleted, right? If you're new to the channel and you're not familiar with the situation, you can scroll down to this video to hear more about it. Sorry, y'all, it's not loading up the thumbnails. Okay, there we go. So this is why I'm having to read the titles to figure out the video. Hold on. So the video is titled Update, New Vids Coming Soon. And the thumbnail says Update, right? So if you check out that video, you can see it's from a year ago. It's only 8 minutes long. You'll hear me talking about when all of my videos got deleted. The videos with me on camera. I had so much content, y'all. Like 100 and change videos that was deleted off of my personal YouTube account because, like I said, this person in my close circle confiscated her laptop from me that I was using. At the time I was unemployed. This was when I was going through that rough patch last year, for those of you that have been subscribed. And so I didn't have a computer to use, and she took that computer, went into my personal YouTube and deleted all of my videos. So it was really frustrating, y'all. I was just like, for a moment there, just like ready to pull my hair out. But me, very determined. It took my time, and slowly but surely over the course of last year and this year, recreated a lot of that content that got deleted, as well as provided new content for you all. So that's what's going on. I remade a lot of those videos. The only difference is I'm not on camera because I don't have a laptop. So for most of these videos, I'm not on camera, with the exception of like 3 videos, right? There's this video, my full story, how I became a targeted individual. As y'all can see, that's like 12 hours worth of content. Very long video. I didn't sit there for 12 hours straight talking. Although when you're targeted, it does feel, sorry, I heard noise in the background, y'all. When you're targeted, it does feel like that's something that you could do, right? With everything that you go through, you could vent for days and days and days, right? But realistically, that's not something that, I didn't do that. I sat there in different parts at different times. I purposely wore the same dress for uniformity, but these are 7 different parts that I sat and made, right? And then I just compiled it into one video where I basically told my life story, y'all. Because although my targeting started in 2020, I had dealt with some strange activity in my life from age, I would say like maybe 23, 24, my early 20s up until now. So about 10 years, I've dealt with different strange things that have happened. And I was just telling my life story and why I felt like something spiritual was going on, which I got backlash for as well, y'all. If you hear the story and you listen to my other videos, you'll understand what's going on, y'all. I don't want to go into too many details. But I just was telling my life story, y'all. So just not just what started the targeting in 2020, but some of the things that preceded the targeting. And then the other videos I'm on camera for are not targeted individual videos. I think I have like 2 videos where you see me working out, very short clips. One was like a 3-month workout update when I had first started working out again at the end of last year. And you just see it's like a 5-minute video of me just showing you my results. You know, I was in like a little short pants and a sports bra showing you my results. And then there's another video that I made at not the beginning of the year, it was a couple months ago, where I was showing y'all me squatting 270 pounds in the gym. So that's it. That's all I have on camera. And then there's like an old, I think it's like 2-minute clip with a guitar with me on camera. If y'all scroll down, I'm not going to go to that video. But I don't have many videos with me on camera because of that incident that took place last year. So look forward to seeing more videos with me on camera once I get this laptop. The breath video will be the start of me being on camera again. Anyways, scrolling back up, y'all. So back to, hold on, y'all, the noise campaign plane, which is one of the tactics and things that targets deal with, is flying by. So let's let that go by. I don't know if the video's picking up on the sound. Yeah, y'all, that's just one of the many tactics used. I'm sure if you're targeted and you've learned that you're a target, I'm sure you're familiar with noise campaign, and you know, that's one of the most common tactics and one of the first tactics that you'll start dealing with as a target, noise campaigns. And so they use aircraft on targets. Here in the islands where I'm from and where my targeting is taking place, to my knowledge, I'm the first person to have ever been targeted on this island. So they don't use as many resources as they do in the mainland, but they do use resources here, a lot. And so with the aircraft, they used a little small plane, similar to what they use in the mainland, right? But also in the mainland, they use helicopters. Yeah, pretty much just that, the little small plane and the helicopters in the mainland. They really go ham with the helicopters. You know, in 2022, if you listen to my story, sorry about that, y'all. It looked like a call was trying to come through. If you listen to my story in 2022, excuse me, y'all, that threw me off and I lost my train of thought, because what the video is about has something to do with someone in my close circle. It's not just about her. I had other stuff I wanted to talk about anyways. I was actually making this video to talk about something else, defend myself about something else that has nothing to do with anyone in this house. But I was procrastinating on making that video. I was really feeling lazy about it. But now that this incident here this morning happened with this person in my close circle, I just want to put the content together, right? Sorry that I started stammering, y'all. I had somebody drive by. Hold on, let's just let the car drive by. But anyway, that's why I started stammering, y'all, because I saw a group chat coming in, and it says blocked content. And I think what happened is I blocked the person. And so I think that's stopping me from being able to join the group chat, which is fine. Because I'm not trying to do that right now. I'm making a video. So anyways, goodness, trying to get my train of thought back. Okay, so yeah, so that's what this video is about, y'all. Basically just 2 different things. Me defending myself about something, you know, a reaction that I had that created like this thing, I think, or this perception, and then now what happened this morning with this person in my close circle. So 2 different things. You know, I do that all the time, y'all. You know, I'll have one video that I'm making and I'll have several different things I want to talk about, different talking points. That's what's going on today. It's just 2 different things. Anyway, so yeah, with the tactics though, y'all, just this is many tactics and, you know, many different things that you'll encounter as a target. I went off on a tangent. I was telling y'all about 2022 when I tried to relocate off island. My targeting started here on island, but I tried to relocate in 2022. If you listen to my story, you'll hear about this, y'all. And that was what made the targeting go viral, basically, because I had all of these horrible reactions to what was taking place. And it went viral. You know, this is how it works. You know, you get antagonized, you get harassed by endless amounts of people, right? And then eventually you have a human response, and it's usually a very nasty one. And it worsens the targeting, and it creates, you know, depending on how bad the reaction is, it creates a worse situation for you. This is what happens with all targets, really. It just depends on how bad your reaction is. Some targets, they have some really bad reactions. Mine was bad. I said some horrible things, but it wasn't like I was physically assaulting anyone. I've seen targets out there assaulting people. I've seen targets getting locked up in the clinker because of the reactions that they're having, and that's never been me. It's more so just like saying offensive stuff, and not even in person either. Like, for instance, you know how when you're targeted, you're surveilled 24/7, right? So everywhere you go, everything is bugged. They're using insect drones to surveil you. Y'all, I just made a song. I'm in the process of making it right now, a poem called Hallucinations, where I'm playing off the fact that this program emulates schizophrenia. And so it's talking about the fact that, you know, I've always used my imagination. You know, I'm a writer, and also I like to daydream. I have ADD and Asperger's, as y'all can see in the banner. And I was saying I don't even need to use my imagination anymore with all these hallucinations, because all the crazy shit that happens in the targeting, it's like I couldn't even think up some of the shit that I've experienced. Like, I don't even need to use my imagination anymore at this point. I was just writing this poem about, you know, called Hallucinations, and actually the title is Hallucinate. So I might post it. It depends. I might. We'll see. But anyways, y'all, I'm going off on a tangent. Let me get to the point of the video. I don't want the video to be too long, and I'm rambling. As a matter of fact, let me stop the video here. Let me listen back to what I've said, and then I'll come back and finish. And the reason I'm saying that, y'all, is because I'm exhausted. You know, I'm working 2 jobs now. And this is a weekend now, so this is a week full of having worked two shifts, 2 jobs, and I'm at the end of the week now. It's Saturday morning. I just got off from the night shift, so I'm very tired. And that call coming through distracted me, and I feel like I started to ramble. So let me end the video, listen to where I'm at, and then I'll come back on in the next clip. Hey y'all, so I'm back to finish the video. So I listened back, and yeah, I was rambling and whatever else, but you know, I just explained to you all I'm exhausted and lots going on, so I do apologize. Let me just get to the point of the video, y'all, right? So first, let me talk about what I wanted to initially make this video about. Something I've been wanting to talk about for the last few days, and I kept putting it off because I'm exhausted, like I said, and whatever. I said I'll just cover it whenever I get the breathalyzer. Remember in the last video, y'all, the same thing I just referenced in the last clip. I told y'all because of something that I said in my full story, an insecurity of mine. Not that it's ever been something that was actually said to me, but it's an insecurity of mine because of this runny nose, this constant runny nose I've had since childhood. I've always had this fear of bad breath, right? You can listen to, like I said, the last video to hear more about it, where I talked about, you know, my fear of that and the fact that I said that, and now it's used as a tactic against me. You know, people holding their nose and pretending like they're smelling my breath, even though I'm wearing a mask. I'm washing my mouth out with natural mouthwash. Dr. Bronner's one of the top selling mouthwashes that has peroxide in it. And we all know oxygen. Well, let me not say we all know, but if you do your research, you'll see that oxygen kills all diseases and all bacteria, all pathogens. So that was smart what he did, putting peroxide in that mouthwash. It's really effective, and it doesn't have fluoride or anything like that in it. So I use that. I'm brushing my teeth. I change my toothbrush every month. I'm flossing my teeth. You know, it's just like, even if there were some sort of super halitosis happening despite all of the brushing, there's no way that they're smelling it through the thick ass mask that I'm wearing. I can barely breathe through that thing. So it's a tactic that's being used, and I, to knock it down, ordered a breathalyzer, you know, and so I talked about that in detail in the last video, y'all. I'm not about to go into the details again about it, but that's what I was talking about for those of you that didn't get to see the last video. In the last clip, when I said I'm gonna come on camera as promised in the last video and take a live breath test, that's what I was talking about. And so this video here that I'm making now, this first topic that I'm gonna cover, I was gonna just talk about it in that video, but since I'm doing this video now about the thing that just took place with someone in my close circle, I said, well, let me just talk about that other thing that I wanted to talk about now here in this video. So let me talk about that first, and then I'll talk about what happened with the person in my close circle. All right, y'all. So, you know, in the last clip, I was just telling y'all about when I tried to relocate in 2022 off island, the island where my targeting started. Again, I've been targeted since 2020, but I did not learn that I was a target until the end of 2022 when I got back on the island that I tried to relocate off of. When I tried to relocate, the thing followed me, obviously, because it's a program. I didn't know that. When I realized it followed me, I started having some adverse reactions, never physically harming anyone or saying anything negative to anybody, more so just like moving like a bitch. If you listen to my story, you'll hear about what happened, y'all. I'm not about to repeat it here in this moment. One of the main reactions, for instance, was when I was on the Greyhound bus, right? I left this island and I went to Florida, and I purchased a series of Greyhound tickets en route to Indiana. When I got to Tennessee, the Tennessee Greyhound station, that was when I realized that the targeting had followed me. I didn't know at the time that I was a target, but that was when I realized that the strange thing that had started happening on island because of the text that I sent in 2020, that was where I realized the thing had followed me. And so when I got on the bus, I started moving like a bitch, like, acting scornful, like I didn't want anyone to touch me. I sat next to this guy, and I was just scrunching up in the seat. There was a homeless guy in the seats to the right of me, and he had his feet sticking out kind of into the middle part of the bus, right? And I was just scrunching up in the seat like I didn't want anyone to touch me, and I was acting scornful, and I was taking my Lysol and I was spraying myself, and every time someone would cough, I was making a face and spraying myself and just acting like a bitch, because I felt like everyone was watching me, and I realized the targeting had followed me. All of the rides prior to that, I wasn't acting like that. Yes, I had my Lysol because this was post-COVID quarantine. They had just lifted quarantine, y'all. This was back in 2022. So of course I was moving careful. I am a germaphobe. I do have OCD. I do have Asperger's, but not acting scornful like how I started acting at that Tennessee Greyhound station, in that Tennessee bus, when I realized that thing had followed me. Anyway, though, that reaction is what made the targeting, that was the initial thing that made the targeting go viral. So from there, it was just like a snowball effect. I just started having all these horrible reactions, saying offensive things, again, not to anybody's face, but because you're surveilled 24/7, and you don't have privacy, like how I'm sitting here in this room making this video right now. Even if I were to take this video off and just start talking to myself and saying horrible shit, everybody can hear what I'm saying. So that was similar to what happened, like me knowing that, things were bugging me, figuring that out, and me sharing offensive content, Hebrew Israelite propaganda in my car in Florida, because I was being harassed and antagonized by thousands and thousands of people. And so those were the things that led to the thing going viral. You have to listen to my story, y'all. Like I said, check out the links in the description box and comment section. Not only are there videos that share info about the program, but there's a section where I have links to several different videos where I told my story. So aside from that 11-hour, 7-part video compilation where I'm on camera, there are other videos, shorter versions that I've created where I tell my story. So check it out if you're new, y'all, and you're not up to date with what's going on. Because I'm not going to repeat, some of the things that I've already talked about in prior videos. Anyway, so this is similar to those reactions that made the thing go viral in 2022. When I got back on island, of course, my targeting had worsened, right? I still had reactions. Even now in this year here, I've had reactions to targeting. I've gotten a lot better at it, right? But I still have reactions. I'm human. It's annoying when you're going to the grocery store and everybody knows where you're going to be at. And if they want to come and create something, just to have a moment for fun, they're living their regular life and you're dealing with this shit 24/7. You just want to go to the grocery store and pick up some cheese. And you have to deal with somebody purposely wearing colors, right? Or whatever it is that they sensitize you to. For me, I told you it's army fatigue. They like to wear army fatigue. And they like to wear plaid. Oh, and another thing, red and white. Those 3 things. So you got to deal with somebody purposefully wearing stuff to sensitize you. So they showed up to the store just to harass you. And then purposely going to the section that they know you're about to go to pick up a grocery item. Let's say you have a list on your phone. They can see your phone. This is how invasive the targeting is. They can see you on camera, so they know everywhere you're at in the store, and they can hear your thoughts because of neuromonitoring, right? So understand how invasive and how irritating the programming is. So at any given moment, anybody, if they want, can show up and harass you just for the fun of it because it's fun. So imagine you're annoyed. You're just trying to go to the grocery store and pick up some cheese. You look in your phone at your grocery list and you're like, okay, I need to get cheese. And you go over to the cheese section and there's a guy wearing an army pants blocking the cheese and then looks up at you and smirks. These are the things that could create an annoyed, nasty response. And then you have the nasty reaction and you get gaslit about it. When you're dealing with this thing 24/7, you're trying to just live a normal life. You haven't committed a crime. And you're dealing with this level of invasion and harassment nonstop. These are the things that create the reactions, and then you get gaslit about the reaction. They negate what took place, what created the nasty reaction, and they just hone in on the reaction and, oh, monster bitch is at it again. And then you have a bunch of people hopping on angry because you said something offensive or you thought something offensive because, again, with the neuromonitoring, your thoughts are being projected. So, for instance, that scenario I gave you was a real one. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. That's a scenario I gave you was a real one. That happened a few months ago. Went to the grocery store to do some grocery shopping. And I was looking at my grocery list and I was like, okay, I need cheese, right? I go over to the cheese section and there's this guy blocking the cheese aisle. The whole part where the cheese is at, because there was a little small portion where the cheese was at in this grocery store that I was in, wearing the army fatigue pants. And it's not even to say he's just blocking the cheese and being annoying, because I stood there for a while waiting for him to move. He then looks up at me and smirks, trying to get a reaction, trying to egg a reaction out of me. It's bullying. And so then I bully back and I'm more of a bitch than you were. And then I get painted as a monster. And I might even say something offensive about you that might pertain to other people. And so now those other people that's watching me on camera, they don't care about what this person did to get the nasty reaction from me. It's just hone in on me, the target. That's the bitch. Now look what she said now. Oh, I have a big belly too. She's a bitch. That's just how the thing works. You say off-cap offensive shit out of anger. You might offend another person that same thing you said applies to. And then it's like more people are angry with you. It's a horrible, it's a very effective, diabolical, horrible nightmare when you're targeted. Anyway, so that's pretty much what happened, y'all. I was in the store, like I said, the same scenario I gave you, went to the cheese aisle. The dude was, blocking up the cheese. And he had a big belly. He wasn't fat. He wasn't overweight or what would be called, because there are different, people have different definitions of what overweight or fat would be. I mean, I'm sure there's some sort of universal understanding of what overweight is, right? But some people might look at a female and think, oh, she's thick. And someone else might look at her and say she's fat, right? So it's just different perceptions. And even though there is some sort of, like I said, universal understanding of what overweight is, there is also still like some sort of, I don't know, I just feel like inconsistency with the definition. There are different perceptions out there. To me, this guy wasn't fat, right? He was clearly not fat. He was regular, average build, but he had this like distended stomach. Like his stomach was really big. And so I typically don't body shame. I myself, like I said, I've dealt with a lot of bullying in the targeting, they come for my looks all the time. And it's a humiliation tactic because they know all these people are staring at me, right? Everyone on island, imagine how invasive this is. You have everybody on island staring at me and constantly they're trying to tear me down. They're constantly coming for my face. They're constantly coming for my body. They're constantly coming for my hair, trying to tear me down and lower my self-esteem. Meanwhile, all these people are looking, trying to humiliate me. That's what it's about, right? And it's a tactic used in the targeting. It's one of the main tactics they use, right? So it might not be the same insult, right? Whatever they hurl at you might not be the same insult that they hurl at the target next door. And when I say target next door, I'm just saying, whatever. It's not like it's a common thing to be targeted. It's really not. And it's not like you're going to be next door. It's very rare that you would ever be neighbors with someone else that's being targeted. But I'm just saying, you know what I mean? It's not like they're going to use the same insult on you that they'll use on the next target. But they're going to look at you and they're going to figure out whatever they think you're insecure about. And they're going to attack that and attack it and attack it. And try to make you feel low on yourself. There was another target I was looking at, speaking of fat, because they're hypocrites with the targeting, try to make it seem like I'm this bully and I body shame and this and that. They were body shaming the hell out of this target. They kept throwing fat at him and sensitizing him to fat, right? And trying to make him feel fat. That was what they were coming for with him. With me, it's my face, right? It's mainly my face and my hair. So anyways, and there was like insinuating that I basically, like, I don't know if you've heard this term before, right? There's a term they used to use back in the day. I don't know if they use it anymore, called a butterface, right? And what a butterface is, everything but her face, right? It's a very low, very insulting slang that people use on people. But a butterface means everything but her face. So it means she got a nice body and her face looks bad. That's what a butterface is. They used to use that shit back in the day in high school. You never wanted to be called that, a butterface. But these are the things that they do, and they create this narrative. And then, of course, everyone hops on because that's how it works. It's a team effort, a collaborative effort to tear down the target. And when I say everyone, not everyone's involved. I've experienced so many different people in this targeting, and I know firsthand from experience that not everyone's involved. But there's enough people, I want to say the majority, there's enough people involved to tear a person down. Shit, all you need is 4 people against 1. And if those 4 people start pushing the narrative and start to gang up on this one person, that's about enough to tear that person down. All you need is 4. Much less for way more than that hopping on. Anyway, so this is constantly what they're doing, though, coming for my self-esteem and, trying to get under my skin. And I'm so strong now, I can't even explain it to you. Like, you could literally say anything to me. And I could see it with the technology, too. They started sending me this thing. They said, when you learn how to train your mind to not feel emotions about anything that's said. And it's not even that I train my mind, or they said that, no, that's not what they said. They said, when you learn how to act like you don't, like you're like words don't hurt you. That's what it said. It said, when you learn how to act like words don't hurt you. Because I've seen all kinds of horrible stuff being said to me, sensitization, like real low stuff, people going in, and not even just this person in my close circle today. She's just hopping on and using what these people have been using on me, right? And that's the unfortunate thing about being targeted, because if you get in a fight with somebody, that person already has to win automatically, because you're targeted and you have all these people against you. You have technology being used on you, and you have insults being hurled at you 24/7. So if you get in a fight with somebody, already they got the win. Y'all, hold on a second. Let's let this thing pass by here. So it would be so easy to, if you get in a fight with a target, like that's like fighting somebody that has like a major disability. Like, oh, you won. I'm totally incapacitated. Yeah, of course you won. But anyway, so that's just how that works, though, and they could easily just use one of the tactics that's being used on you. But the thing they sent to me was, when you learn how to act like words don't hurt you, because they even see what happens to me at work with some of the coworkers. Some of them be saying some real sensitization in some moments, and I just sit there and you would swear that it didn't affect me. Like I didn't feel anything, and it's not acting. I really don't feel it anymore, if that makes sense. I'm desensitized. So they were wrong with that meme that they sent me. They had it a little bit. They said, when you learn how to act like words don't hurt you, it's not an act. It doesn't hurt anymore, because I've been through it so much that I'm desensitized. Like if you have soft feet and you start working outside all the time and you start walking on the gravel and your feet start to calcify. And so after a while you can walk on that same gravel and you don't feel it anymore. You're not acting, you're really not feeling it anymore. That's what it is with this targeting. That was one of the blessings about it, was that it strengthened my resolve, and I've already always been a strong person. But you could say literally anything to me and you can't get a reaction because I don't feel it. I don't care what you say. When you start dealing with something like targeting and false narratives being thrown at you and all these people ganging on and attacking you, you start to learn how to not care about what people say. And you start to learn that their opinion doesn't matter. It doesn't. Especially when you come in for something like looks. That's something I've said this already in different videos, subjective. That's something that's subjective, meaning that it's opinion based. It's not an objective thing. So if you said that I was ugly, and then someone else said that I was ugly, I guarantee you I can find 2 people in this world that would say I'm beautiful. So it's subjective and it's based on opinion. So why the hell would I be stupid enough to sit here and cry over your opinion? That's you. I don't give a fuck what you think. And so that's how that works. And that's why I don't let it get under my skin, some of the things that they say. But I do understand that they're trying to paint it like I'm this bully and try to validate the things they're saying when it's really targeting. It's gaslighting like crazy. I'm not somebody that would ever come for somebody's body, because I have body dysmorphia myself. I've always had this struggle with my body image, right? Where I feel like either I'm too skinny or I'm too big, or, it's just this crazy thing. It's never really been too big. And only when I was in middle school, I was short and I was tubby when I was in middle school. And I used to just look in the mirror and feel like, man, I wish I was taller. I wish I were slimmer. I just felt like this little short tubby thing. And then when I got to 9th grade, I shot up. I was playing sports and stuff. I shot up. And so then that wasn't an insecurity anymore. It became, okay, I'm too skinny. I don't have enough curves. I don't look feminine enough. That became the insecurity. And so throughout the years, I've worked out, taking care of myself, eating healthy, weightlifting, etc., trying to build the physique that I like, right? And it's not just about that. It's not just about body dysmorphia or wanting to see a certain physique. It's about health as well. And it's also about the fact that I really enjoy working out. It's good for the mental health, especially if you're someone like me that deals with ADD and Asperger's. So that's why I do it as well. But yeah, I'm hearing talking in the background. It's just throwing me off. I can't hear good. That's why I do the working out as well. But understand that there is an element of body dysmorphia there as well. I do it because I've always felt like I wasn't curvy enough or I was too skinny. And so I worked out hard to achieve the physique that I wanted. There, with the technology now trying to insult me about that, like constantly coming about that too. Like, just so much stupidness they send me, y'all. Hold on, let the talking outside stop, y'all. Because speaking of ADD, I can't focus. Let me listen back to this, what I've said again. I'm not going to keep doing this. I know y'all know I don't do this all the time, but I'm really tired right now. A lot's going on. So let me listen back to these 2 clips now. And when I come back, I'm going to finish the video for real, right? And I won't be going off on any more tangents, but there's a lot of talking going on outside and it's distracting me. I'll be back. Anyways, y'all, so finishing the video, that's basically what happened. Getting back to the main point. I went to the grocery store a few months ago, right? Went to the cheese aisle, was looking through my grocery list, and I, obviously, like I said, if you're a target, I'm sure by this point, if you've been targeted for a while, I'm sure you've realized at this point that everything's bugged. Your phone, everything, every technological device that you're using, they're watching you 24/7 via insect and bird drones. And they microchip you and can hook you up to a computer system and can hear your thoughts in real time, everyone around you. Understand how invasive and how extreme this thing is, right? So anyways, I was looking at my grocery list and I was like, okay, got to go get the cheese, and I head over to the cheese aisle and there's this guy, like I said, standing there. And in this store in particular, the cheese aisle is not a large section. It's like this little small section where you go to get the cheese. And he was blocking up the whole area and standing there and smirking at me. He stood there for a while. I waited. I was annoyed already. He was wearing the army pants, so I knew it was gang stalking. I knew he knew I was going there. But then he had the nerve to look up at me and stare at me and smirk. So that got a reaction, right? And so I just came for whatever. I just looked at him and I just, out of anger, reactive abuse, I just came for whatever, right? And so I saw that he had like this distended belly, like this huge belly poking out. And I thought in my head for him to hear, because I know he could hear my thoughts. That's how the technology works. It's called brain to computer and brain to brain interface. Check out the links in the description box, y'all. There's evidence out there. There are patents for this technology and endless videos from DARPA talking about this technology. And I've posted some of those videos and those patents on this channel. Check out the links in the description box and comment section. This is happening in real time. Y'all wake up. Even if you're not familiar with this and you're not targeted, you need to learn about this because this will have a direct effect on all of mankind very soon. It's the use of it is amping up. There's a purpose for it. It's not being used for fodder or fanfare just for fun. I'm sorry, I'm using the wrong word. It's not fodder, the things that I'm sharing with you. And it's not being used frivolously. That's what I meant to say. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying now though, y'all. So check out those links, y'all, and learn about this technology. It's very important. But anyway, so when he did that smirk, it got under my skin. I was annoyed and I had an adverse reaction, and I just looked at him and looked at whatever I could say that was insulting. And I saw that he had a big belly. He wasn't even overweight. So it wasn't me. You could say body shaming, but it wasn't fat shaming. I never said anything about him being fat. So I just looked at him and I said, with the way I thought, I didn't say this out loud again, thought projection, right? And you do get gaslit with the targeting. Remember, they make you feel like you're hallucinating or you're schizophrenic or you're crazy. So I could think my thoughts and you hear my thought, and I can pretend like, I could play the game too and pretend like you can't hear my thoughts. So I thought in my head, with the way his belly's looking, I said, with the way your belly's looking, you need to be over by the fruit section trying to detox. It looks like your liver could use a detox. That's all I thought. That is insulting. And, if it were a regular day and I weren't being targeted and I came for him like that, I could see you calling me a bitch. But it's called reactive abuse. And again, you're dealing with this thing 24/7. So all day long, dealing with tactics, with gang stalking. You can't just live a normal life like everyone else. Your thoughts being projected. Dealing with people coming out of their way to follow you and stalk you and harass you just to annoy you and get an adverse reaction. And eventually, Dealing with that all day long, eventually one of these gang stalkers will be the camel, the straw, that breaks the camel's back. Figuratively, of course, figurative language. And so you might just be that gang stalker that did it for me. Like I was dealing with the shit all day with the gang stalking. You were the one that broke the camel's back, and you got the adverse reaction. And that was why I made the poem Bitch Switch, because I wanted to talk about that too. I think that was taken out of context. I think I make these poems and people, just because they don't like me already, just roll their eyes and think I'm being a bitch. Or, I think what they thought when I made that poem was that I was glorifying being a bitch, and that's not what it was. It was me talking about reactive abuse. And the fact that you going out of your way, that's why I said, and if you listen to my poem, y'all, check out my BandLab. I didn't post that poem. It's on my BandLab. I didn't post it to YouTube. And even the last poem I was talking about, the hallucinate poem, I'm working on it on BandLab. I think I might post that one here on YouTube. I'm not going to post Bitch Switch. So if you want to check out Bitch Switch, go over to my BandLab. You can click on any one of these poems that I have posted here on YouTube. And in the description box, not the description box, in the comment section, I think also in the description box, you'll see a link to my BandLab. Or you'll see the name of my BandLab, and you can look it up yourself, right? And then also in my bio for my channel, I have my BandLab listed, right? So you could check out my BandLab, because I have a lot of poems over there that I don't have on YouTube. Bitch Switch is over there. I'm not posting it to YouTube. Hallucinate, I'm working on it. I think I will post it to YouTube because I really like it. But that's what I was talking about with Bitch Switch. I wasn't glorifying being a bitch or bragging about being a bitch. No, what I was talking about was the fact that with the harassment that happens day to day with a target, eventually you switch on the bitch switch. You know how they gaslight targets and call us monsters or bitches or bad people, horrible, this and that, when it's reactive abuse. You switched on the bitch switch. You went out of your way. You really, the lyrics talk about it. I said you really put in the work, started all this shit first. I'm not talking about the targeting, because obviously I sent the text and that's what created the targeting. I didn't deserve this over a text message. No way you could ever tell me I deserved all of this over a simple text. But that's not what I meant. I'm not talking about the targeting. I'm talking about this bitchy reaction that I'm now getting gaslit about. And not any specific bitchy reaction either. Just all of the horrible reactions I've had throughout. And all of the horrible reactions that targets have to the gang stalking and the harassment, etc. That's what Bitch Switch is about. It's about reactive abuse, not me glorifying being a bitch. So that's what it was about. Anyway, God, I went off because I'm hearing noise in the background, y'all. Hearing noise in the neighborhood, hearing noise in the living room. Done seen this truck drive by like 10 times today. Anyways, back to what I was saying though. I was telling you what Bitch Switch was about, but going off on a tangent. Oh yeah, so just, getting back to, I went off on a tangent about the poems. A relative tangent, but a tangent. So that's what it was in that moment in that store. The guy was just one of many gang stalkers that had harassed me for the day. I had been out taking care of business. Typically when I go grocery shopping for the 2 weeks, because I go grocery shopping every time I get paid. So every 2 weeks, typically I'll just designate a day. It's usually Sunday, and I'll go wash my clothes and I'll hop to different stores and grocery shopping at the things I need. So he wasn't the first gang stalking activity I had dealt with for the day, but he was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. And so I had that nasty reaction, and I said what I said. And so it would come across like I'm this bitch that body shames, and that's not the case. Me of normal would never say something like that. If I weren't being targeted and harassed and antagonized and bullied, I would have never just sat there and said something like that about someone. And again, let me remind you, I didn't say it. I thought it. So technically, they're not listening to my thoughts, right? So anyway, I thought it. And, they, of course, with the targeting, gaslit me about it, used it to propel this villainization of my character. And again, it's me being monster bitch, right? And more validation for the bullying that takes place with the targeting, and more validation for them to bully me. So they started pushing with the technology, with the AI shadow networking software that I've also talked about in prior videos, and I've also shared info about. That's one of the links located in the description box and comment section. With the AI shadow networking, they started throwing this narrative about me being this bully that, pushing the false narrative about me being a bully, and they added that to the narrative, trying to create it like I fat shame and I body shame, turn it into fat shaming. When not once did I use the word fat. I said he had a big belly. The man wasn't even fat. He had a big belly, right? And I'm not coming for people that have a big belly, because that's how the targeting, like I said, works. You say something insulting about someone that's harassing, you just look at them and look for anything you could say, right? It's just reactive abuse. And you might say something that applies to someone else that you would never have said to that person, but they take offense to it. Like, oh, she's saying something about big bellies. I have a big belly, bitch. You know, like, that's how it works. And then they're creating the narrative about fat shaming. I never fat shamed. And so now you have people that maybe feel like they're fat, you know, because again, I feel like fat is, I understand there's like a universal understanding of what obese is or overweight, but it is still like some inconsistency with the definition. Like I said, especially I want to say, not to make it a race thing, but in the Black community, because, you know, sometimes men in the Black community will refer to a female as thick, where someone else might look at her and say fat. It really is, it's indeterminate, the definition. It's hard to determine, right? And I myself, I can't even decide really what I would call fat from what I wouldn't, right? Because it's like, it's debatable. It depends on culture too and all this other stuff, right? But now you have people that maybe think that they're fat. They look in the mirror and they feel like they're fat. And now they're creating this narrative that I fat shame people, which I don't. And I didn't. They'll be looking at me sideways like I'm a bitch. Like, she talks about fat people. Like, this is how the thing works. They'll take one moment where you were having reactive abuse, take what you said, misconstrue it, and create this false narrative. And all of a sudden, I'm somebody that fat shames. And I talk about fat people, which couldn't be further from the truth. So anyways, the reason I'm saying all of this is because something that happened at work. I keep saying I'm not going to make these videos about work. I'm not going to make the videos about work. And I'm like, you know, it's like, you're going to deal with targeting. You're going to deal with sensitization. You're going to deal with directed convo off and on. It's just how the thing works when you're targeted. It's so hard to have that mentality and be like, okay, I'm not going to make videos. And then something like this happens where I feel like I need to defend myself because they're pushing a false narrative and it's creating some sort of reaction from someone. Like, it's annoying and it's a nightmare. Like I keep saying. But this was another thing. There's a lot of directed convo that's used off and on at work with different people. You know, some people don't do it at all. Some people don't participate. And then some people I've worked with have participated hardcore. And then some people I've worked with have participated a little bit. I've experienced it all, really. Similar to when I'm outside of work, where I deal with some people I know they're privy to the situation. They don't participate at all. Then I have some people that participate a little bit, like they'll use a little directed convo or do a little something. And then I have some people that go ham with it. Like, you could tell there's somebody that was obviously offended by something I said. You can always tell those ones. Those are the ones that be going ham on you. Those are the ones that you're like, okay, something I said got under this person's skin. Those are the ones that be going ham on you. You could tell the ones that you've said something and it rubbed them the wrong way. Anyway, so the other day I was at work and I already told you guys about this process I'm going through. I'm at the rough patch right now is what I would call it, of becoming a corrections officer, where right now I'm a cadet. And so I have to sit underneath until they send me away to academy. I have to go into the jail and shadow every day different officers for 8 hours straight, right? I have to sit up underneath somebody for 8 hours straight. So again, I said this in the last video. You can imagine that if you're somebody that has your little post, because that's kind of how it is when you're an officer. They put you over a unit or they put you at a section in the jail and you have your little post. Of course, you communicate with your coworkers, but you don't have anybody sitting up under you, nor do you have somebody on your back micromanaging. You have the manager, you have the supervisors that come through and make sure everything's okay and they communicate with you on the walkie-talkie, but you don't have anybody up underneath you like that, right? So now, imagine that you have to have somebody sitting up under you for 8 hours straight, because that's how it works when you're a cadet. You have to sit up underneath an officer in their space, their little office space, for 8 hours straight. That already could be something that's annoying, having to deal with somebody sitting up under you for 8 hours straight. You can't move comfortably and do the things you normally do. You have to do, you should be doing everything by the book anyways, right? But now you really feel like you have to do everything by the book because everybody's watching, right? Because remember, when you're targeted, cameras follow you. So now this person, whoever they put me to sit up underneath, is subjected to the cameras that follow me. So they have to be watched by everyone on island for 8 hours straight. So you can understand it's not just the irritation of, oh, okay, I got the rookie today. No, it's I got the targeted rookie today. So I got to have everybody staring at me for 8 hours straight. I can hear her thoughts. She can't control her thoughts. Her brain is ticking. So I'm hearing it in my head. This is I might be somebody that's offended by some of the reactions she's had. So you can understand how it's a nightmare for me. It feels like the stepchild that's getting thrown around. That's kind of what it feels like as a target rookie cadet. If I were just a cadet, it wouldn't be like that. It's because I'm a target and then I'm a cadet. Like I said, I'm sure there'd be some level of irritation, like, damn, I got the rookie today. But it wouldn't be what it is because of my situation. So you can understand how difficult this part of the process is for me, and trying to push through and navigate every day. And then also being somebody that's introverted, have Asperger's, it's rough. And have all these people staring at you 24/7. It's rough. I'm telling you, it's been rough. And there are days where it's better than other days, and it keeps getting better. I keep saying this. I have moments where it's actually a decent day. It's getting better. The more I come around and the more I push myself through. But some days it's just like damn near unbearable, because it's just like, oh my God, my brain is ticking. I don't want the thoughts to be pushing into this person's head. So I'm feeling the angst about the tick. And so it happens more. Crazy stuff popping in your head too because of sensitization constantly with the technology whenever you are on your phone, right? Because remember, before I was going to the prison during the daytime, now I'm there for 9 hours straight. Before, it was all day long. If I weren't at the gym, I was home watching my technology, watching my YouTube. And so for days, for months on end, for damn near 2 years, they've been programming into my brain a lot of false narratives and a lot of bullshit. So you can imagine now I'm sitting up underneath somebody. Sometimes directed convo is being used. My thoughts are being projected. All kinds of stuff be popping in my head that I'm trying to push out. It's real torture. It's real difficult, and you want the job so damn bad. You push yourself through. You want the job so damn bad, but it's just like it's so it's rough, man. I'm telling you, it's rough. I said this in the last video. It's rough. Right? Especially if they push you up underneath somebody that has a problem with you, or low-key, like, real feelings towards you. Like, this is what I'm talking about. The other day, they put me up. They didn't even have me next to this guy. They actually had me with a woman officer. But this guy was on the other side of the unit. This was one of those units where it's like a shared office space, but you have I can't really explain it to you guys. As an officer, you're over one unit, right? And then I'm over this unit, right? And it's like a shared office space, but it's split up. There's like a big space in between. It's a huge office, and you're on one side and I'm on this side, right? And there's even like a curve in the office, like where you have to go around a corner, but we're still in the same proximity and we can hear each other speaking, right? So it's that type of space like that. And so they put me up underneath this one female officer, but over on the other side was this male officer. This older officer, he's about to retire right now, actually. My God, for 8 hours straight, I had to deal with sensitization and directed convo from this man. And I could tell that likely something I said offended him or rubbed him the wrong way, because he was going ham. This was like, I want to say, one of the worst days I've had in the jail. Aside from that day, that Tuesday that I made the video about, in that first week when I first started in, they were really going in on me. Like the first 2 days with the directed convo, it was almost like a test to see if I was going to be able to withstand, or tough skin, be able to withstand whatever, where they were hammering in on me for those first 2 days with the directed convo. And I even made the video about it. Not about them, but really about the gang stalking that took place when I left the jail. After that, things started to simmer down and got a lot better. There was still directed convo, but nothing like those first 2 days, right? It got so much better. But then, not yesterday, I think it was like day before yesterday or something like that, sometime last week, they put me with this female officer, and it was one of these units that had, like I said, shared office space. And there was this male officer in his unit on the other side. And you could tell he's one of those that has like a real issue with me. He was going in all day, and I just had to, in my head all day long, for 9 hours straight, just hear the directed convo, and it was like cackling and loud laughing. And I don't mind laughing and enjoyment, right? You're at work. You shouldn't have to be like a robot at work. You should be able to laugh and have a good time. If he was laughing about regular stuff, it wouldn't have irked me the way that it did. It was just the stuff he was saying was a lot of directed convo and bullying. And then to hear the loud, like, off beat laughing and stuff, it was just like, and I was exhausted too. I worked the night shift, and I'm coming now here to work this long 9 hour shift. It was just it was rough. That day was rough, man. That day was rough. I'm just like, oh my God. And I know I can't say anything because I don't want to lose this job. I'm just a rookie, And then I'm also too, he's retiring, so it's not a big deal. Just, bite your tongue. But he was going ham all day long. I was like, oh my God. Right? And so that's what made me talk about the fat thing, though, because that same officer, a few days prior, I had sat with a different male officer, not him. And that male officer started talking about that guy's girlfriend, the guy that was going ham for like 8 hours straight. The other male officer I was sitting with, he was kind of, it seemed like doing directed convo, and he said that officer's name, and he said, "You ain't see so and so's girlfriend?" He said that. Excuse my language. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just telling you what he said, and I know he knows all these people are watching him with these cameras on us. So that's why I'm saying directed convo, because from what I could tell before this day here, where he was doing the directed convo, because I had worked with this same officer another day, and he was not doing directed convo. Very nice, instructing me on what to do, hands on. But then I sat with him after making a video where I was talking about the hater thing. And I wasn't calling the people in the job haters. I was trying to explain why I think two of the officers might have thought that I was saying that they were jealous of me because of some directed convo with something they said. It's a long story, y'all. But long story short, I was talking about the gang stalkers outside of the jail and how it's a tactic. The tactics they use to tear you down emulates hating, just like the tactics used emulate schizophrenia, like you hearing birds in the trees, right? And you saying that the birds are cameras, and they really are. They would gaslight you and make you feel like you're crazy. What are you talking about? There are no camera birds. What are you talking about? Even if you show them evidence right now, look, the technology exists. Look, they'll say, but why would that be outside of your house? You know, like you get gaslit about it. So it's a tactic, right? And this is why I made the song Hallucinate, because it feels like hallucinations, and they could gaslight you into feeling like you're schizophrenic if you didn't do your research and document, etc. But similar to that is how these tactics where they're tearing you down and coming for you constantly, and sometimes even blockages. That was happening last year. This year has been a lot better, but that could feel like hating, but it's not hating, it's a tactic. And so that's what I was trying to explain in one of my videos, and I think my coworkers took it the wrong way and thought I was saying that they were haters when I wasn't even talking about them. I was first of all talking about the gang stalkers outside of the jail, but I wasn't even calling them haters. What I was saying was that it was a tactic being used. And so I felt like I had to specify that in my videos, because those two coworkers, I had sat with them, two female coworkers, and there was some directed convo. I talked about it in the last video, y'all. It was either the last video or the video before that one. I'm not going to talk about it again. But they were saying something about they think you're jealous of them, and, you have everything they want. And da-da-da. I talked about it in one of my prior videos. I'm not going to go into it right now, y'all. That's not what this video is about. But I noticed when I sat with this male officer again, now, he was doing a lot of directed convo, and it wasn't the same pleasant way that he was the first time I trained with him. Still helpful, still hands-on, making me do hands-on stuff, but there was directed convo, and I believe it was because of that thing, right? And so one of the things he said was about that other male officer, the one I told you I didn't sit with. I was sitting with the female officer, but it was a shared office space, and I heard him for like 9 hours straight doing directed convo. This other male officer that I was working with for the second time, that was now this time doing directed convo, he was talking about that guy's girlfriend. And he said, "You want to see so-and-so's girlfriend? That fat fuck." That's what he said. Excuse my language. I'm not saying this. I'm just telling you what he said. And I want you to understand that everybody's watching on these cameras, and he's aware of that. So I knew he wouldn't really, even if that's how he felt, he wouldn't have really said that with all these people watching. So this is why I know it was directed convo. And so for me, I'm thinking, okay, so they think that I body shame. They're going with the narrative of me fat shaming, which I do not, and I never have done. The only thing I did, and this is why I brought it up, and it's kind of like it created something for me bringing it up. It's like I opened a can of worms trying to defend myself about the fat shaming false narrative. I talked about the body shaming that I actually did do, and it was on a skinny guy that had a big belly that was harassing me, blocking up the cheese and smirking at me, when I'm trying to shop a few months ago. And so I just hurled out whatever insult, oh, big belly, and they started to, with the technology, use that to vilify me and paint it like I body shame, which I don't. And I never have. So anyways, when he said that fat fuck, talking about that dude's girlfriend, I was just like, and he started even showing the other officer, he went and showed a picture. He said, you see this? This is like just going into how fat the lady is or whatever. I was just like, oh my God, they really think like, that I, fat shame. I don't. And so then now, come a couple days later, I had to sit next to that officer, the guy who he was talking about, his girlfriend, that guy. That's the guy who I had to sit. I wasn't next to him. I wasn't under him. Like I said, I was with a female officer, but he was on the other side of the unit. And all day long, just one set of directed convo and just going in, man, all day long. It was just like, I couldn't, it was so hard to take. And just being loud and obnoxious about it too. It was just really terrible. And so I'm just like, I wonder if his girlfriend really is overweight and if he feels like, but to me, that narrative didn't fully make sense, because that same officer, although I haven't sat up under him, I interacted with him when I first got into the jail. And he was actually one of the officers that wasn't really doing the directed convo. He's been very nice to me. So I didn't understand now why here where I'm sitting up under him, he was going in like that. I didn't understand what caused it. But the only thing I could think was the fat thing, because of what the other officer had said when he did the directed convo and was talking about that guy's girlfriend. But I'm like, but he's seen me since I first started working at the jail, before that guy did the directed convo, and he wasn't acting how he's acting now. So I'm confused. I was just confused. I don't know what caused it. But he was going in all day long. It was whoa. It was whoa, man. Anyway, so that's why I said I needed to make a video and talk about this body shaming thing and this false narrative about fat shaming. And then they put me up underneath this officer in the kitchen, right? This kitchen officer. I could tell the guy don't really care for me. And he was actually one of the officers on that Tuesday, that first week when I worked for the first time, where I told you those first 2 days where they're going ham on me, those first 2 days. He was actually one of the officers that was doing all the directed convos, saying a lot of stuff. There was him and, I'm not going to specify who was doing it, right? It was like 3 of them. They were just doing a lot of pinging back and forth of directed convo, real harsh stuff those first 2 days. And then that Tuesday was the second day that I was in the jail for that first week, where he was one of them. All that directed convo. And then when I left the jail, they were going ham on me with the gang stalking, celebrating that embarrassing moment that had happened. So, of course, me, I'm a warrior. I still kept pushing through. I'm like, I want this job. I'm going to keep going regardless. It doesn't matter what's said. I'm going to go and I'm going to show I could do the job. I want this job. I kept going and things gradually got better, right? So now, fast forward to now, this is like week 3, or last week was like week 3 or week 4 in the jail. They actually put me up underneath that officer, right? In the kitchen. He was in the kitchen. That wasn't my first time working the kitchen, but that was my first time working with him. Yesterday was actually my second time working with him. My first time working with him was day before yesterday. Put me up underneath him, right? So the first time, not yesterday, but day before yesterday when they put me up under him, when they sent me to the kitchen, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to be working with Miss So-and-so, because that's who I'm used to working under when they put me in the kitchen. So I felt relief. I feel comfortable with her. I've worked with her several times. An embarrassing brain tick happens, but I'm comfortable with her. It's not no bad vibe, right? I'm sure she has whatever feelings towards me too. A lot of people do. But it's not like this one of those aggressive officers where it's a lot of sensitization in the conversation. I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be a rough day. This is going to be one of those days. I got to push through today. She's not one of those officers. So anyways, I get there. I notice, I'm knocking, can't get inside. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Usually when I call out, she'll come and open. I can get inside. I'm like, I'm knocking, I'm not getting an answer. One of the prisoners had to, try and get inmates, not say prisoners, one of the inmates that I'm cool with, he was trying to get me into the jail, not into the jail, into the cafeteria. So he went around and, he called through to some people and he got me in. Come to find out it was that guy that was working the cafeteria. I was like, oh, that's what's going on. I think I even made a face, not a nasty face, but a face like, oh boy, this is going to be one of those days, is what I was thinking. Because I had dealt with that moment with him, the directed convo thing that happened on that Tuesday in the first week when I worked. Those first 2 days, like I told you, that was really rough. So I was just like, oh boy, this gonna be a rough one. So I made a face. I probably made an exasperated face, like, oh boy. But I got in there, and surprisingly enough, he turned the charm on, and he was acting. And let me not say surprisingly enough, because I don't know him, and he seems like I said, I always say this about people. I'm good at reading people. I can read when somebody would likely be a cool person if you weren't targeted. Like, I can read through people and I can see, okay, this person has a cool personality. Likely if I weren't targeted, they'd be a cool person. I can read that. And I can read if somebody's just like a complete asshole. I've dealt with different types of people and different characters, right? Trying to not let my brain tick. Dealt with different characters, and I see how you interact with other people versus how you interact with me. If I see that you're just moving away with me, then okay, it's the targeting. If I see that you're moving away with everyone like an asshole, then you're an asshole, right? So I just read out characters and stuff. I can see, like, typically he's probably not a nasty person towards people, but I'm target, and I could tell he's offended likely by some of the things I've said. So, and usually that's how it is too. I can read the people that I've probably offended, because those are the people that usually go more ham on me with the directed convo. I'm getting good at this, man. I've been in it for a while, y'all. So anyways, I sat there just thinking this is going to be a rough day. But like I said, surprisingly enough, he turned the charm on. So he was acting cool, right? And actually trying to train me and, more hands-on, like, the 2 other officers. There's 2 other officers I've dealt with that were more hands-on with me. He was more hands-on with it, like letting me do stuff and really giving me directions and stuff. And throughout the day, there was directed convo, but it wasn't too bad. It actually wasn't too bad. The day went by smooth. The conversation was okay. It was not a bad day, right? That first day in the kitchen with him, I left out. The problem was he made a comment, right? He was trying to describe one of the supervisors to me. And he was saying, the supervisor that works by the so-and-so area. And I said, no, which one? He's saying the name and trying to describe him to me, because I was asking him if there were any other supervisors other than Miss So-and-so, the main supervisor that I know to be a supervisor. And so he's describing two other supervisors, right? And one of them he described, she didn't like the best bone in my body. This lady does not like me, right? I remember I even had to, they tried to put me to train in her area, and she put the chair up to close the door and like block up the door, and oh boy, rough. This lady doesn't like me. I don't know. From what he's saying, the way he described her, he called her, I don't want to say that term because that might be offensive. He called her, the D word that they use for, people that are, for females that are gay. That's what he called her, the D word, right? And she does dress like, we're all wearing a uniform, but she has cut hair and, so a lot of females have cut hair and aren't necessarily gay, but, I could believe that she is what he said, now that he said it, So that might be the offense, because remember, they're constantly throwing at me this narrative about me being homosexual, right? And I never have said anything offensive about gay people. I'm actually very open to all different belief systems, all different lifestyles, whatever. I'm not a judgmental person. I even talked about the fact that I was friends with a lot of gay guys back in the day because they're really cool. They make the best homegirls. Like, it's this weird thing. They're not homegirls, they're men, but they make the best friends. Like, they're cool. They give you good advice, style, and how to do your hair, your makeup, etc. Especially if you're a girl like me and you're not really stylish. That kind of balances out when you make a friends with a gay guy. They can give you a little, a few pointers on how to dress and stuff. But anyways, I have said nothing but positive things about that sexual orientation, because they keep trying to egg me into this thing, right, where they could create more people disliking me. And they keep purposely throwing this false narrative about me being gay, right? And then trying to egg a reaction. I know what they're doing. They think they're smarter than me. Keep trying to do this thing where they're trying to get me to insult that sexual orientation so they can have another group of people against me. This is what they're trying to do. And it never works, because I don't have a problem with that sexual orientation. And I'm confident and comfortable in my sexuality. I've always been a tomboy. And that's not going to change. I haven't changed. I could be purposely trying to act extra feminine and extra girly and, lying and saying, oh, yes, I'm a girl, just to prove that I like men. But I don't feel the need to do that, and I never did. I'm not going to change me because of your warped perception of me. If I act less feminine than the typical female, oh well. That's how I am, and that's my prerogative. And I don't feel like I need to put on a facade and act extra girly to prove to you that I like men. And then also, too, it's funny because they then like to call me thirsty. It's just like these contradictory things that they throw at me. One minute, throwing at this thing that I'm gay, but then in the next breath, throwing the fact that I'm thirsty. Like, they constantly contradicting, right, with these narratives. That's how it's just tactics. Like, constantly contradicting with the things they throw at me. But anyway, I think even still with me not having said anything offensive about that sexual orientation, I think specifically, rather than gay men, I think specifically maybe gay females might have like this negative feeling towards me just because, I don't know, I maybe made them look bad or something. Even though I'm not gay myself, it's still like I have this warped perception going of me, right? And if they're painting the narrative that I'm gay, I guess I would be making those females look bad if I were actually gay, which I'm not, by the way, so they have nothing to worry about. But if they were painting that narrative and it were true, then I'm making them look bad. So I guess they want to make sure that it's clear that they don't associate with me or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I don't even know if that's what it is. It could just be that she just doesn't like me because of, some of the things I've said, like some of these other people. But she was one of them that was like particularly like towards me, like, like, whoa, like I said, I've dealt with different energies, and she was one of those I could tell could not stand me. She was one of those, like, she even like kicked the chair, they put me to train in her section. She kicked the chair and made it block the door so I couldn't go through the door. I said, okay, I'll go over here today. I said, okay, I will go over here today, and I'm going to sit with that dude, and then they ended up calling and sending me somewhere else. So I've dealt with different characters, like I said. Some of the trainers I've dealt with, it's like, even if they don't want me there, they're very good at playing it off and not acting like they don't want me there. I've dealt with ones that are neutral, where they're not acting completely like, oh, I don't want you here, and like blocking the door. But it's like they're not jumping for joy that I'm there either. It's just like, okay, got the rookie today, I'm going to do my job and push through. And then I've had a few, like one or two that are just like, they're putting you here today? You're coming here today? Like freaking out about it. I'm like, okay, whoa. Let me go over here, like, if they do put me here and you don't want me here, I will sit here quietly because I have to do it. I want the job. It's like, I'm not choosing to do this. I have to do this We all know this is the process for cadets. I have to do it. I'll sit here quietly and, we get through the 8 hours and 9 hours, whatever, and then your turn is over and then they put me to the next person. I have to go through this process. I don't want to, but I have to. I want the job. So, unfortunately, if you're one of those officers that get a turn with me, trust and believe I know how to stay quiet in the corner until the hour is over, the 9 hours. The only issue again is the thought projection. My thoughts projecting into the person's head. That's the thing I can't control. And they could easily turn my brain off. Whatever the technology is, they won't do it. So it's horrible. Anyway, so he was describing her, though. I didn't mean to even go off on a tangent about her. I just remembered that. It just popped in my head, that reaction with her. Like, I was just like, oh my God. Even the other day when I was at work, she was having some conversation next to me and she's like, I hate. She kept screaming the word hate. I was just like, oh my God. Like, what did I say that really offended her? Is it the gay thing? Like, I'm trying to figure it out. Is it that? Or is it something else that was said that really got under her skin about me? Anyway, because I'm not even gay. By the way, I don't have an issue with gay people. I've never said, I know they damn sure don't have nothing with me saying anything bad about gay people. But again, maybe it's just the idea of, because that narrative is spinning, maybe it's just the fact that I make them look bad. If I am being projected as that, then I make them look bad. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But I like men, and I don't feel the need to bend over backwards to prove it either. I like men. So anyways, and no, I'm not thirsty either. Another false narrative. Yeah, you have people sipping water and acting like I'm thirsty, and I'm just like, I wouldn't even, I'm not. Okay, anyway, I'm just going to go into the details about it. I'm a funny person, right? And it takes a lot for me to be attracted to a person. It's not just about the physical. First of all, I have to talk to you and converse with you and realize that you and I can converse, and you're somebody that makes me feel comfortable. You could be as fine as you want to be. You could have everything that I like physically in a man, because I've already talked about what I like, and I think this is why they think I'm shallow. I made it very clear that doesn't have to be the aesthetic. Naturally, I gravitate towards, if we're talking about physical attraction, muscular men. I don't care what your face looks like. And in fact, that same butterface thing that I was talking about a little while ago, that they like to call me and say about me. There's this joke with my siblings when I was younger, that I used to like men that had you wouldn't say butter face because it's for a female, but her face, but that for a man. Like, a lot of the men I liked back in the day didn't really have the best face, but they had nice bodies. I'm more attracted to physique. And I explained this in one of my prior videos. I think it's because typically guys that have a nice physique are into the same things I'm into. They're into sports, they're into working out, they're into hiking, those type of things. And I've noticed that the men that have those physiques typically have the same things in common as me. And that's I don't care what your face looks like. I mean, of course, I need to be attracted to the face. It can't just be any face. But I really don't care about face like that. I've dated quite a few men that the face wasn't that amazing. And that's what my siblings used to tease me about. They used to say I used to like, not to say this, but they used to say I like ugly men with nice bodies. That's what they used to say. And that wasn't always the case. There have been some pretty boys I like too. I learned to avoid those types. But I pretty much, more so if I'm talking physical attraction, if I am looking at that and being shallow, I typically look at body. I don't really care what your face looks like. But it doesn't have to be a nice body. You can have a regular physique. You can even be overweight. I have dated, my first boyfriend was not overweight, but he had meat on him. He was stocky. I've dated several guys that have had meat on them and it wasn't a big deal. But my thing is, it's like I see people sipping water. I'm like, you wouldn't even be the kind of person that I would like. And it's not even anything about how you look. It's your personality and how it meshes with mine. Because I have a unique personality, I don't have chemistry with just anyone. I have trouble conversing, right? I have Asperger's. And it takes a while for me to open up and get comfortable with someone. But some men, there have been few, and that's typically why I'm attracted to outspoken men, or men that are not, I wouldn't say alpha men. I am attracted to alpha men, I'm not going to lie. But men that not just take charge, but are outspoken and can converse with just about anyone. Because those are typically the men that make me feel comfortable, and then I can be myself and we conversate and I get past the awkwardness. I don't have chemistry with just about anybody. So you could be as fine as you want to be. If you're not one of those people that makes me feel comfortable in conversation, I wouldn't even be attracted to you. And so, it's just like this sip water thing they be doing, try to paint the false narrative about me being thirsty. And some of the guys sipping the water, I'm like, I wouldn't even have an attraction towards you because there would be no chemistry there. You don't make me feel comfortable enough. And then there's guys that make me feel comfortable. And then I'm like, okay, this would be someone I would be interested in. They don't even know how my brain works. But it's just, again, another tactic, painting a false narrative with the water thing and the thirsty thing and the bullshit, dumb bullshit, stupidness. Like, all I have to do is talk to a man and they're sipping water like I'm being thirsty. No, I'm just talking, we're having a conversation. That's all it is. We're just talking. I can talk to you, right? Like, it's just the weirdest thing ever. But it's just this thing that they're doing. And it's a part of the false narratives, like the pinching the nose and pretending my breasts, things, and everything else that they're doing. It's just a part of the bullying, right? So anyways, back to the point though. Because I went off on a tangent. I was talking about this guy in the kitchen that they put me underneath, and I started going off on a tangent about the two supervisors he was telling me about, because I only know the one supervisor. That's the one I'm familiar with, the main one. But there are two other ones that I've met. Well, I've met one. Conversed with him, but I didn't know he was a supervisor. And then there's that one that I had I didn't really meet her, but, had like a brief interaction with, and I could tell, like I said, she doesn't really care for me. And so he was describing the two of them. He's like, oh, there are two other supervisors. He's like, one is the D word that might be offensive. And then he said, and the other one has a really big belly. And he said this on camera, all these people can see this. And so I think he was just, again, low-key directed convo, like, again, saying it, purposely describing the guy like that as a way to, buck back at me, because I had just literally, like the day before, talked about the fact that I think this guy is mad at me because his girlfriend's overweight. And I said the big belly thing. And I only said that because of what the other officer had said in directed convo about his girlfriend being a fat fucker, whatever horrible stuff he was saying, man. I would never say nothing like that. And I never have said anything like that. But anyway, so back to this guy in the kitchen now, because I know it's confusing. I'm hopping from all these different officers that I've been under in directed convo, etc. He starts describing this one officer, and I did talk to him before. I didn't know he was a supervisor. And he said, so-and-so, you don't know him? He said, the supervisor with the big belly. The big belly. He said, come on, man. You have to know that officer. The one with the big belly. And the way he was saying, I'm like, I know he knows all these people, including that supervisor is likely watching right now. He wouldn't have said that, like, naturally. He's saying that because of the big belly thing with me. So it's like another thing, like, of me being a bitch. And so that's why I was like, I need to make this video. But anyway, him saying that created this tick in my head with him in particular. Whenever I'm under him now, ever since he said it that first day when I worked with him, like I said, things went smooth and he turned a charm on. But like towards the end of the day, it, surprisingly enough, almost happened when he said that. The word, I don't want to say the word that started taking in my head because it was just offensive. But he said that and it reminded me of the fat narrative because that guy's girlfriend. So the word fat started trying to tick in my head and I stopped myself. But then throughout the day, whenever he would use directed convo and it would seem like, kind of like bullying a little bit, it would be a reminder of him thinking that I'm a bully. And so the word fat would try to tick into my head. But I think he might have thought that I was calling him fat. I don't know. I wasn't. I don't know if that's what he thought. But that's just my fear with the, you don't understand what the thought projection. It's so easy for you to create enemies because stuff ticks in your head that's been programmed into your head, or it has something to do with a false narrative, and then you're sitting next to somebody and that starts ticking in your head and then they're ready to pitchfork you. Like, it's just a nightmare. It's a scary thing when you're dealing with this thing. So throughout that first day, the fat thing kind of tried to tick in my head, but I was able to control it for the most part. But then when we got to the end of the shift, he was conversing with me, regular conversation. I noticed the thing just started. He said sensitization. I don't remember what he said. And it reminded me again of the bullying thing. And the fat thing started ticking in my head again. So I flew up. I said, you know what? I'm going to go down early. I said, I have some stuff I need to fill. In the middle of him and I talking, I flew up. I said, I have to go down. I have some stuff I need to fill. He said, okay. He got up and he looked, like, paused for a second. I don't know if he heard it or not. But he paused for a second and he went and opened the gate and I left. Next day, now yesterday, to put me up under him again. They never do that. They never put me up under the same person twice because I think they're trying to give people a break, and not have to deal with my thoughts pushing into their head all day long and all these people staring at them because of my situation. But she did put me up under him again 2 days in a row. So I was just like, oh my God, I can't say, hey, no, don't put me there. I have to go wherever they put me. And I actually like the kitchen the most out of all of the posts because I feel like there's a little space there between the officer and myself, and it's not like I'm sitting right on top of them. There's at least a desk in between. They have their desk, I have my desk. There's a little space. So I feel like they at least have a little space, even if the thought projection is happening and they have to babysit me. But they stuck me up under him again, and I was like, please, Phillips, whoa. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say the name. My God, I'm not trying to use people's names. I'm not trying to use people's names in these damn videos. Oh my God, I did not mean to do that. But I was just like, please let it be the female officer, today. So I was hoping in my head, I was hoping it wasn't him, even though he was actually decent and pleasant with me. That first day, I still just underlying stuff. Like, I'm very intuitive. I could tell the guy doesn't care for me. I'm intuitive. I'm very intuitive. And I think he thinks I fat shame people or I body shame people. I really think he thinks so. He even made a comment yesterday about not having substance. And I'm like, you really don't know me. But anyways, so I just was hoping it wasn't him because things had went smooth and that tick keeps wanting to happen. I'm just terrified it would happen. And I just know things could easily switch. And I remember how he was acting that day, the Tuesday when they were doing the directed combo. I mean, really giving me that targeted special boy that day. I was just like, oh my God, I don't know if I could get through another day and it goes smooth. Like, I know I can. I can do this. But it's just like, I don't know what's going to pop in my head. And I don't want things to turn bad. But anyways, I have to go there again. There's a second there. So I'm just like, okay. So I pushed through. I get in there with him. And he was the same way pleasant in the beginning. He was really training me, allowing me to use the walkie-talkie. He actually, out of all the officers I've trained with, some of them have their benefits and their different things that they've done that's helped me to learn. The officers that let me do hands-on stuff are the ones that are helping me to learn. It's really like teaching. Remember, I used to be a teacher. And when you teach your lesson, then you have to let the students do the activity so they can learn for themselves. And it's the same concept. I noticed those officers that teach me, not just lecture and say, okay, this is the procedure, that's the procedure, then let me hop in and do. Those are the ones that are actually really teaching me. And so he was actually letting me use the walkie-talkie. And so with the 10 codes, with the walkie-talkies, you have something called 10 codes and different codes they use over the walkie-talkie for you to communicate throughout the prison. He was actually letting me, not just teaching me the codes, but letting me use the walkie-talkie and use the codes. And I started learning them. I actually know like most of them now because of him. Right? So he was doing what he was supposed to do. He really was. And it was pleasant at the beginning of the shift. Then we got back to the office, and this is where the problem comes in, where we have to sit here for 8 hours, and it's either you and I have some sort of struggle conversation, right? And the reason I'm calling it a struggle conversation is because, again, let me explain. I'm not the best socializer. I have Asperger's. I'm actually really bad at socializing. So it takes a special kind of person to be able to sit there for 8 hours straight and get me comfortable enough to where I can socialize with you on a regular level and we're actually conversing and it's comfortable. And then if we're not conversing and you just let me sit there and doodle, which is not a problem, my brain starts ticking. So then you have to listen to my thoughts ticking into your head. So this is where the struggle comes in with this part of the process of being a corrections officer. It's those moments of downtime when we're sitting there idly and it's either we converse, we have struggle conversation, or you're one of those people that made me feel comfortable and the conversation is flowing, or I'm sitting here trying to draw and stop the stupidness from popping in my head and you're forced to listen to it. So anyways, this is where the problem came in yesterday, because him and I were sitting there and the struggle conversation was ensuing, and it wasn't totally struggle conversation because he is kind of gregarious, right? It's not like one of those people where I'm like, I really feel like I'm struggling in the conversation. There are points where I actually feel comfortable with the conversation with him. He is somewhat gregarious. He is. But with him, it's like he offends easily. I could tell. Because I think there's already this underlying thing with him because of some of the things I said. And I think he really thinks that I'm somebody that body shames on top of things. So there's that. But he also seems like he gets annoyed easily. But I think specifically with me. And so I think some of the things I say could easily annoy him. And so I would notice when I would say something, he would start getting annoyed. I'm very good at reading people. It's like one of the symptoms of Asperger's. Y'all saw me take the life test, right? I showed y'all that video where I took the life test. One of the symptoms is that you can be conversating with a person and not realize that you're annoying them. That's one symptom. It's not a definitive one, right? There are different symptoms and it's a spectrum, right? So you have different levels of autism. Asperger's is the highest functioning form of autism, right? And so you have high functioning Aspie people, right? And you have different symptoms. One of them can be that you're conversing with someone and not realizing that you're annoying them, or they've become disinterested in the conversation. I'm not that girl. I can always tell when somebody's getting annoyed with me. What it is I'll play it off and I'll try to smooth it over. Even though I'm not the most social person and I am socially inept, meaning I don't know how to socialize, I am good at picking up social cues. So I don't have that symptom of Asperger's. There are some people with Asperger's, like you guys saw with the test. I answered that part honestly and I said, that's not me. There are some people that have Asperger's where they're not good at picking up social cues and they're not good at reading the room. And so they can't tell when somebody's getting either disinterested or annoyed with the conversation. I'm not that girl. I can pick up on when things start going weird, but I'll try to smooth it over and fix it. And that's what I was trying to do yesterday. And so I noticed with the conversation, I started acting like a know-it-all. Not purposely. I've been told this before. My sisters used to laugh at me and get annoyed with me about that. The fact that I act like a know-it-all. You know, they actually call me know-it-all, and they get annoyed with me in conversations sometimes about it. And so I noticed him and I were talking, and he had said some things that were incorrect, and I corrected him. Not in like a rude way. It was not like I was being nasty about it or condescending, but I was just being technical and very literal and anal in the conversation. And, you know, kind of just correcting some of the stuff he had said, that he was trying to like give examples that didn't work. And then not just give examples that didn't work, but he had used a word out of context. Like he kept calling me, for instance, a square. And when he looked at the definition of square, the definition is somebody that's boring and uninteresting. So he said, oh, that's not what I meant. He said, I meant that you're different, you're this and that. And so when he told me what he meant, it still to me felt out of context, because typically when you hear somebody using the word square, they're talking about somebody that's nerdy, right? So anyway, look, I'm doing it again, I guess, because they're revving by now. I'm just trying to explain where the annoyance came in. I'm just trying to explain what went wrong, right? And I picked up when it happened too. So anyways, me just acting like a know-it-all or whatever started annoying him. He started getting annoyed in the convo, and I noticed it. But I still just kept smoothing things over, right? Trying to smooth it over, but he was getting really irritated. And that he mentioned this movie called Training Day, right? Which was, I think, directed convo, because apparently what it's about is this cop, Denzel, that was a dirty cop, right? And so he was training this rookie, and he set the rookie up basically to take the fall. So he was a dirty cop, and he was training this rookie, and he set the rookie up to take a fall and get killed. But the rookie was blessed enough to not get killed, because apparently the guy he set up to kill the rookie, he had saved that guy's family member. And so a picture had fallen out of his pocket, and that guy's family member saw basically the picture of the person he saved, and that's what spared his life. But the point is, it was about this dirty cop that was training this rookie, and basically the rookie ended up getting set up and almost getting killed. And so it was directed combo. The whole thing was directed, right? That part there. But he hadn't started getting too nasty. I don't want to say nasty. I don't want to use that word. But he hadn't started getting that kind of annoyed, asshole-ish way just yet. Throughout the day, I just realized that's his personality. He's like a sarcastic type of guy. But he's really started getting rowdy when this happened. So when he said the Training Day thing, my mind instantly ticked to the narrative, the fat narrative, and me being a bully. And so the word fat started ticking in my head, and I started trying to push it out, and I don't know if he heard it or not. Up to now, I can't hear my own thoughts. So I don't know if when I try to successfully push something out of my brain, if they hear it or not. I think he heard it. And the reason I'm saying that is because then afterwards, he then made this comment about, one of my favorite lines in the movie is when they said, the gorilla, something about a gorilla, he said. And I know that was directed at him. He kept saying it. And so I know that's directed at me, and I'm not sure if it's a reference to my face or if it's a reference to my back. Because another thing they try to do, even though they say I have a nice body, they keep trying to come for my back and make it seem like I have this big, strong back, right? It's like you try to come for my back like my back is like the biggest thing in the world, which I think is funny. And actually, it's a blessing for me because it's genetics. And this is something that would annoy people to be rolling their eyes again, those people that don't like me. But, they try to, tear me down. And so I'm just going to talk about the blessing in my back. My back is the reason why I didn't have to work too hard to squat heavy. I didn't have to work too hard to lift heavy. It's genetics. Naturally, my body is muscular. It runs in my family from my father's side, right? But my back in particular, and it's not just me, my older sister has the back too, and all of us, really. It's an extra strong back. It's a part of the muscular physique that we have. It's not just the back, but they're honing in on the back because I guess they're saying that that's an unattractive feature for a female. I haven't ever gotten any complaints before, and it's not changing my overall physique. Anyway, but that's what made me be able to lift so heavy. Like with the deadlifting, I can lift 250, almost 300 pounds, and I didn't have to work too hard to get there. Like I've been training my legs like crazy for about a year. My upper body, I just recently started training it because it's naturally developed and it always has been. So I only just recently started to incorporate like 20 pull-ups. I do 20, I don't know what you would call this workout, but it's like a weightlifting machine where you push the weight up. I do not bench press though. It's something else, similar to the bench press, but different. I do 20 of those. Sometimes I might throw some push-ups in, but barely. But I barely do upper body because I'm naturally built there. My whole body built, but specifically the upper body that runs in his family, the square shoulders, the muscular upper body. I didn't have to work too hard to lift heavy. I didn't have to work too hard to lift a 250. I literally had just started, like for a month or two, I had just started doing upper body workouts, and I was already able to deadlift like 250, almost 300 pounds because of that natural physique. So I don't know if that's what the reference was. It could have been that, or it could be the face thing, as you know, they like to come for my face. But nonetheless, I believe that he said that because the fat thing that was taking in my head. I truly believe this man thinks that what's taking in my head is me calling him fat, when really the tick was created because of what he said about the supervisor and the big belly thing. And it reminded me of why I brought the big belly thing up in the first place, was because the directed convo that officer was doing about that guy's girlfriend, calling her fat fucking stuff. Excuse my language. And so I feel like they think that I'm somebody that body shames or fat shames. And so that's whenever he says bullying stuff, like the training day thing, he hadn't said the gorilla thing yet, but he said the training day thing. I think back to that and why he's doing it. And so the word fat wants to tick in my head. And that's what it is, why it keeps ticking in my head. So it's just it just got really, I didn't get rowdy, honestly. You know, it's not like the other guy whose girlfriend was being described as a fat fuck. It wasn't like him, who all day long was just directed convo nonstop and laughing loud and just my head just pounding. It wasn't like that with him, but it was more so like he just started getting really annoyed and, you know, saying asshole remarks and directed convo and, you know, thinking, I don't know if they think I'm slow and I don't catch things. I catch everything. I just be playing stuff off. I'm a target. I play stuff off like all the time. I catch everything and I pretend like I don't. But I was catching it and he was just getting really antsy and irritated. And so then it was just like this, like trying to rush me out the office thing yesterday. You know, he even started pretending like my breath stunk. You know, all of a sudden he's sitting all the way over on the other side of the room. He acted like when I look up, you know, and I'm speaking, he's acting like he's spraying the thing and just doing like all kinds of stuff. He kept making references about eating cookies, you know, and I need to eat the cookie, and he wouldn't have got cookies they bake in the kitchen for me, and talking about eating the cookie. Because with the sensitization and the stuff they've sent to me with the technology, they've sent some really perverse stuff, and they've programmed my brain, and they've sent stuff about eating, they've sent stuff about tasting, warped, really weird stuff. They even sent me, I was going to share this clip, I decided not to. This clip from one of the shows I like to watch, where one of the females was talking about her husband taking her virginity, and she said it was really tight. And remember, they've sensitized me to the word tight. These are the things they do. Often sensitizing me to these things, and it'll make my brain tick, and then it becomes a source of bullying for gang stalking activity, right? If they feel like I'm the bully myself, which I'm not. Not a bully. Just reactive abuse. That's all it's been, is reactive abuse. Just having reactions to what's happening to me. Even to being put in this program, I didn't even understand how the people in my close circle did this to me. You know, and they're still actively participating and making noises in the background. It's just crazy to me that they even did this to me over a text message. Anyways, I would have never do this to them. I keep saying that. Like, I've gotten over the betrayal at this point now. It's not even like something like I feel like, oh, about like the first year it was happening, but it's just like 4 years later, I'm still just like, WTF, I can't believe it. Anyways, so moving on from that now, speaking of which, let me transition into the next thing I want to talk about. So that's done, y'all. Talking about that part, that's done. I just wanted to clarify, I don't body shame, and I never have. I don't call people fat. You know, I never have. I myself deals with body dysmorphia. As much as my body's in a nice physique now, a nice shape now, because I worked my ass off to get it there, I've dealt with body dysmorphia myself and feeling like I wasn't curvy enough and this and that and whatever else, you know. So I'm not going to come for somebody's body. That's one thing I'm not going to do. I might have said like, okay, you had a big belly. I was just looking for anything that I could bully you about because you were bullying me. Like, he was literally standing there with the army pants on, blocking the cheese and smirking at me. Like, this whole thing is a joke. And so that's where I had a reaction. And I said something mean back, and then they run with it. And now, okay, she fat shames people. No, I don't. So anyways, moving on to the next thing though, y'all, off of that now, because I really don't want to, like I said, make these videos about work, and I keep saying that and then making videos, but I felt like this again was one of those things I felt like I had to defend myself, because I think it's like this narrative that I fat shame, and I don't. I would never do that. And I also wanted to explain why with that officer the word fat ticks into my head, because I don't want it to be thought that I'm calling him fat. That's not what's happening. It's the sensitization and him describing the supervisors having a big belly, and then me recalling the reason why that's even coming up in the first place was because of that officer that said the thing about the other officer's girlfriend being you know what I said. I don't want to say it again. So it's just creating this tick now. It's just horrible. Anyway, moving on now, y'all, because that could just become a thing in there now. What if everybody that has, like, I don't know, like, I'm terrified it might become a thing where the word fat starts ticking in my head and whatever. Anything could create a problem with you when you're targeted. There are a lot of people that already just don't like you because of some of the reactions you've had. Anyway, moving on to the next thing, y'all. So not this morning. Moving on to what happened with the person in my close circle, y'all. I feel like I need to take a break for this one, really and truly. So I come in now this morning. I told you I'm tired. It's Saturday morning. It's a whole week of working the double shift. When I say double shift, you know the two jobs I do, the night shift, security, and then the daytime. It's a 9-hour shift during the daytime, not even 8 hours. It's a 9-hour day shift. Not complaining, right? I need the pay, and I'm glad to have a job that's giving me hours and a good job. I'm not complaining, but I'm just letting you know I'm tired. So now it's the weekend after working the full week, and I get home Saturday morning. Come in, I say good morning to whoever's outside. I come in the room. I'm taking my clothes off, about to take a bath. I always do that when I come in. I'm about to lay down. Tired, right? I hear a knock on the door. I guess this person in my close circle was knocking to inquire about whatever item it is that she's inquiring about with one of the people that lives here. The people in my close circle. So then she knocks on my door, opens the door. She said, "Did you eat my vegan mayonnaise?" I said, "Oh." I said, "Yes." I said, "I used it twice." She starts to go off, flipping off at me. "You used my mayonnaise?" Just screaming, going ham.com. Like, literally, I kid you not, she could do the same thing to me, and my reaction would be completely different to the reaction that she has to me. She goes off on me for the same shit she's done to me, and I don't be going off on her the way she goes off on me, and this is a constant thing. So anyway, she's flipping out about this mayonnaise, right? She's flipping out about it. You're using mayonnaise? And I bought this. It's a specific kind of mayonnaise. It's vegan. It's a vegan mayonnaise. It's a specific kind. If you see somebody bought a specific thing, why would you use it? Then I said, okay. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I saw it there. I said, it was almost done. It was at the bottom. When I used it, y'all, there was draggings in there. I've used it twice. They're watching me on camera. I used the thing twice. Draggings in there, There was a little spoonful at the bottom the first time I used it, which wasn't yesterday, was day before yesterday. Then the second time I used it was yesterday. I used it. There was barely nothing. I'm scraping trying to get stuff out. It's not like I was in there scooping out big chunks of mayo and I could see if she was cussing me for that. Like, I was for weeks on end using the girl's mayonnaise, and half of her mayonnaise was used up. The thing was done when I used it for the first time. It was at the bottom. I was scraping they watching me on camera. Why don't they run the cameras back? So anyways, typically I buy my own mayonnaise because I eat eggs. I'm not with this not eating egg thing. It has something to do with, in this family, I don't subscribe to it anymore, but we're Hebrew in this family. I don't really describe myself as Hebrew anymore. My whole perception has changed because of the things I've been through. I believe in the Bible. I believe in the Most High. That's it. I don't subscribe to any specific thing. But we do follow the dietary laws in the Bible, right? So we don't eat pork. We don't eat scavengers. There's an argument within the Hebrew community that we shouldn't eat chicken, right? Because chickens technically are scavengers. Chickens eat just about anything. We've actually driven by and seen chickens eating shit before. So chickens really do eat just about anything. And if you're looking, I'm not trying to preach the Bible. I learned my lesson. I've been through so much. I don't give a fuck what you eat. If you want to eat pork 7 days out of the week, have at it. I don't give a shit. I'm just explaining to you why she's going off about her vegan mayonnaise, right? So anyways, we follow the dietary laws, and one of the arguments in the Hebrew community is that chicken is scavenger, because they even describe the fowls, the birds that you should eat from, right? In the Bible, they describe the birds, and just like how with the animals, the meat that's considered clean meat, they said that you should eat meat that has the cloven toe, like cows, goats, lamb, etc., or the fish, only fish with fins on it. And if you look at the scientific reasoning behind these dietary laws, you'll see that actually it's backed up by science. Like, for instance, the fish that don't have the scales, they don't sweat as well as the fish that have the scales. So they hold more toxins in their skin, right? And so that matches up with not eating fish that don't have scales. If you look at pork is full of parasites. There's no meat that has as much parasites as pork. That's why with pork, you have to make sure you cook that thing through and through. You could end up with parasites in your brain, all kinds of stuff. With scavengers, obviously it's eating the waste at the bottom of the ocean, like lobster, shrimp. They're the cleaners of the ocean. They're cleaning the ocean floor and they're eating everything. And so you're eating that when you eat that. So again, if you eat that every day, I don't give a shit. Trust me. I'll watch you lick it down. I actually like to watch mukbang videos. And oftentimes I'll watch mukbangs with people eating the stuff I can't eat. Just because it looks good and I know I can't eat. I'm like, okay, you can eat it. I'll watch you eat it. Like, I don't care what you eat. I'm not trying to tell people what to eat. Again, I'm just explaining the dietary laws and why she's flipping out about her mayonnaise. Right? So in the Hebrew community, there's an argument about like chickens and stuff, like whether that's a bird we should eat or not. Some believe that we should only eat quail and chicken is an unclean bird. I don't subscribe to the chicken thing. My sister, my older sister, was trying to get me to understand the chicken thing and why we shouldn't eat it and why we shouldn't eat eggs and da 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 da. I don't eat the pork. I don't eat the shrimp. I don't eat the scavengers. I eat chicken. I still eat chicken and there are Hebrews that still eat it, right? So that's a debate within that community. And again, I don't even subscribe to being Hebrew at this point, right? I believe in the Bible. I follow the dietary laws. I believe in the Most High. That's about it, right? She and my younger sister and my older sister, they don't eat chicken. They don't eat eggs. My father, he eats eggs. He doesn't eat chicken. But he's always been that way. Even when we were younger, he didn't eat chicken. When he was Rastafari and sometimes would even eat beef, he didn't eat chicken. So this was not really hard for him to adapt to because he doesn't eat chicken anyway. But the egg thing, he feels like we should be able to eat it. So he eats the egg. I eat chicken off and on. My mom eats chicken off and on. My brothers eat chicken off and on. My older sister, my younger sister, they don't do the chicken. They don't do the egg. They're very strict on that part of it, right? So that's why she's flipping out about her mayonnaise because I buy regular mayonnaise. She buys veganese because she doesn't want the egg, right? So I don't use her stuff. That's one thing I don't do because she flips out about everything. Like, I know how she is with her temperament. I don't, not to use this word, I don't touch this girl's stuff. I know better. Like, my stuff get touched and I won't flip out on you the way you flip it on me. I know how she is. I don't touch her stuff. I never do. This is the first time she's having an incident with me touching her stuff, right? And what it is, again, my mayonnaise ran out. I typically buy mayonnaise for the household, not her. I know she doesn't eat egg. But typically, there are items that I buy when I do my grocery shopping because I buy my own groceries. And there are items I share with the house. I used to share my eggs. Eggs are so damn expensive now. I'd be sticking my eggs in the bottom part of the fridge where I put my stuff. I have a shelf in the fridge where I put my stuff. I be sticking my eggs in that shelf. I don't share my eggs anymore like I used to because it's so damn expensive. I used to share my milk. I don't share it anymore because it's so damn expensive. So everyone knows I always make this announcement all the time. Don't touch my milk. Don't touch my stuff. It's in a bag underneath in the shelf. I always make that announcement. I stopped making it because at this point, everybody knows that shelf is my shelf. My mom even cusses me out about that shelf where my stuff is. So anyways, because she says I take up too much space, taking up a whole shelf in the fridge and telling me I need to get a fridge and all this, right? Hold on, let me plug my phone in. And you're hearing hammering in the background because it's the same biased subjectivity. You have to understand a lot of these neighbors are on top of me. They have an issue with me because of some of the things I said. So I can have an argument with Joe, Susie, Tom, Phil, Harry. They could see I'm right as ever. They're still on top of me because it's me. This is what I'm talking about with the targeting, right? They're hearing what I'm saying and they know what I'm saying is making sense. They know where this is leading to. They're hammering in the background because they have a problem with me. This is the nightmare of targeting. Even when I'm fighting with the other person in my close circle and they can see I'm right. The other morning, me and this other person in my close circle was fighting. You know, she was telling me, you didn't give me 65 for gas. I said, yes, it's in the text messages. I said, hold on. And when I got my phone, I showed her the text message. She starts screaming at me. Okay, well, why are you, I'm not your child. Why are you talking to me? She starts screaming at me about showing her the text, proving that I gave her $65. They start hammering in the background of Rev campaigning in support of her because it's me. So it's the same thing now where, again, I'm proving my point. They're going to be on top of me. This is why I said the comment that fighting somebody that's targeted is like fighting somebody that's disabled because everyone's already against them. So it doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. It's bias and subjectivity. So anyways, let me continue with what I was saying though. So anyways, so I used her, I did use it. I'm very open. I'm not a liar. I did use her stuff, right? So the thing was already basically done the first time that I used it. It was dragging at the bottom. It was like a little teaspoon at the bottom. The first time I used it, which was day before yesterday, I used a little bit. I said, okay, this thing almost done. I said, let me use a little bit because my mayonnaise was done. The mayonnaise I buy for the house that everyone else uses, not her. That was done. Oh, that's what I was talking about. The fact that when I buy my groceries, some of the groceries I share with the household, some not. Like the milk, it's too expensive. I started putting it on my shelf. The eggs too expensive. I started putting it on my shelf, and I even made an announcement about that shelf and my stuff being in a bag. Please don't use it. Right? I always make that announcement. I stopped making it. I didn't feel like I need to make the announcement anymore. So anyways, the mayo I do share with the household, and the mayo ran out, and I haven't gotten a chance to go grocery shopping yet. Stuff was going on with the car. It was in the mechanic shop, this, that, the third. Tomorrow I'm going shopping. So I don't have any grocery. I didn't have any mayonnaise. I just started frying my hamburgers. Remember, y'all, I'm bulking up right now. Actually, by the way, positive update. I'm at 188 now, y'all. That's a big deal for me because, remember, I've been on this journey of trying to gain weight. I've gotten up to 188. I went to do this physical yesterday for Police Academy, and I stood on the scale. It's different to the scale I have here in the house. I have this little cheap scale that I ordered on Temu, and it's obviously been giving me a false reading. It's been saying like 185. I stepped on the scale at the doctor's office, and I'm apparently 188.8. So I'm almost to 190. That's a big deal for me. Okay, I've been working my ass off in the gym and eating in excess trying to gain weight. Anyway, so part of this gaining weight thing is I'll order burger meat. I like to buy, sorry y'all, my back is itching. I like to buy hamburger meat and make hamburgers. But I've been being lazy about it. And instead of like frying it up and making it taste good, I just throw it in the air fryer. I'm usually tired. I'm working 2 shifts, and, similar to those bodybuilders like Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, they'll tell you they're not eating for taste, not to use that word, that they're eating for fitness, right? To bulk up. And that's what I was doing. I was following that same style where I'm just throwing the damn thing in the air fryer and, it getting hard and crispy, whatever. I had to turn it down a little bit because I was cooking it too hard sometimes. And not really just trying to make the thing taste good. I wasn't frying it. I was too tired. So the other night, it was fried. My sister fried it up, right? Because she wanted to eat one of my burgers. I said, you can have one of my burgers, sure. She asked me for one. Sure, no problem. You could have one. And so she made my burger, and I asked her to make one for me too. So she made it, and I tasted so good. I was like, oh my God, I need to stop being lazy and start frying these burgers, And I had already had that thought in my head before. I was just too tired, man. I'm like, I don't feel like frying. I don't feel like putting the oil in the pan. I don't feel like putting an onion in the pan. Too tired, man. I'd just rather throw that thing in the air fryer and let it go, right? She fried it, and I was like, man, this tastes so good. I don't want to go back to throwing that thing. And plus, my dad was telling me something about the air fryer being bad for you and poison and all this. And so I just like, let me start frying these burger meats, right? And then also, since I've been working at the jail, another thing too is that I've been eating at the cafeteria. I've been eating twice a day at the cafeteria for lunch and then dinner. So that's helped a lot too with my bulking process and what I'm trying to do to gain weight. I haven't had to eat as much here. I haven't had to make as much food. Like the burgers, I've been kind of not even making them. Every now and then I'll make them if I don't get to eat in the cafeteria. So anyways, so the last 2 days I did fry hamburgers, right? And so I don't have mayo. It ran, I haven't gone shopping. And so I used her Veganase for the first time. Never did this before. And the thing was at the bottom, Dragings. I used it that one day. Then I used it again yesterday. Scraping, I barely got any on the bread. Used it. So now this morning she came in my room, she showed me the empty jar. She said, are you the one that was using my Veganase? I said, oh yeah, I did. Sorry. I said I used it twice. The girl started to go off on me. Blow off, screaming all kinds of stuff, going ham. This is my stuff. Did you buy this? Did you buy this? Just going ham.com. Now, mind you, just yesterday, she used my milk. It wasn't intentional, but nonetheless, I have made the announcement several times in this house that my stuff is on that shelf. Everybody knows that. They even talk about the fact that it's making too much space. It's taking up too much space in the fridge. It's tied in a black bag. You didn't tie the milk in that black bag. Why wouldn't you think that, okay, this is on Sharifa's shelf. It's in a black bag. This is Sharifa's milk. There's a whole nother milk, the milk that she was using for the cat, on the top shelf. She goes in my bag, takes my milk, and it's not even just like, okay, you use my milk. Took the damn milk. I have OCD. I'm a hypochondriac. I have fear of illness, and I have OCD. I'm a germaphobe. Took my fucking milk, and put it on the bottle for this stray cat they found. And I'm into animals. I think animals are cute. I'm not a cat person. I've said that in several videos. I like dogs. I'm not a cat person. Cats, and that's the funny thing too, because they're always sending me not to go off on a tangent. References to Catwoman, like I'm like Catwoman or something with the strippiness. And I think the reason they're sending that is because Catwoman is like the misunderstood hero. Like she's viewed as a villain, but low-key she's actually a good guy. Even though she has some bad ways, she's actually a good guy. They're always sending me Catwoman. So I think I remind them of Catwoman or some shit. But nonetheless, I'm not a cat person. I never have been. And it's because my mom made me scared when we were younger. Like she was telling us this story about when she was a kid. And how there was this cat in New York and she thought the cat was so cute. And she held the cat and the cat grabbed her arm and raked them and ripped her skin off. And so ever since then, I've had a fear, like low-key fear of cats, and them scratching you and stuff. And so I can admire a cute cat, but like to hold and like I'm not I've said it in several videos. You can even check out my prior videos, and I don't even need to say that because some of y'all are OG subscribers. Just recently I made a video where I was telling y'all I was trying to get a dog. I want a dog so bad, and I was talking about the fact that I'm not a cat person. And I'm not. I'm actually low-key scared of them, but not totally. Like, this one's cute. This is a baby, so it's not scary to me. Well, I'm not a cat person like that. But nonetheless, I'm a germaphobe, y'all. And a major germaphobe, right? She took my milk and put it on the bottle for the cat that she had the cat licking off of. And she said, oh man, what did you drink from that? I'm not too sanitary. I wasn't too sanitary with it. She said, oh boy. So this is telling me, because I actually poured a cup of milk when I got in from work to have with some cookies. And I saw 2 black things floating in the milk. I said, how did ants get in here? So I just took my finger and I took the thing out, thinking it was like ants from my plastic cup that I poured the milk in, not knowing that she was unsanitary with my milk, used my milk, and had it with the cat stuff. It's a stray cat, by the way, y'all. Not the cat that you get, a fluffy cat that you get from the store. A stray baby cat that they took up, which again is cute. You taking care of the cat, that's fine. But a stray cat. I'm just trying to explain the germs and the pathogens and the kind of personality I have. I could have went off on the girl. I had a right to go off. I didn't go off on her, I did not. I just said, I bit my tongue. I said, you know how I am, man. I said, really? I'm freaking out about it. I said, really? I said, you know how I am, man. I didn't go off on her. I bit my tongue. I went in the room. I said, you know what? Just keep that milk. I said, I'm going to have to buy a whole nother milk now. Up to now, I haven't even had my protein shake. I was supposed to have a protein shake yesterday. I couldn't have it because I didn't have milk. Wasn't able to get to the store. My brother took the car to work. This morning, couldn't go to the store because it's our Sabbath. So, now I can't have my protein shake. 2 days now, I missed my protein shake because of that milk situation. I did not flip off on the girl. She's flipping off because I used Dragings in an empty vegan males container. 2 times. Flipping off on me, going ham. So I'm just like, what the hell? And it's so ironic or coincidental, not even ironic. It's not irony. That's the wrong word. It's so coincidental that just yesterday a similar incident happened where I didn't act the same. So anyway, she's going off, right, flipping off, going crazy. My dad comes out the room. Excuse me. Someone in my closer comes out the room. Okay, well, y'all just go in. You did the wrong thing. You used her stuff. Just go in and close the door. I'm like, okay, whatever. I close the door. I'm already tired. She's still going off out there. I know you used it more than once. You are a liar. I know you used it more than once. So I open the door again, flipping out because I only used the girl's thing twice and it's on camera. And one thing about me, I'm very funny about being called a liar because of what I've dealt with this targeting. So I opened the door. I'm like, I did not use that more than once. I said, there are cameras in here at this point now. They never acknowledge the cameras that are on me. They never do. So of course I don't talk about it with them. But we all know I'm being watched on camera. At that point, I threw that into the argument. That's how mad I was. I said, there are cameras on me. I said, full well I only used that thing twice. I said, why don't you look at the cameras? So then she said, yeah, you lying ugly bitch. Getting real nasty and disgusting and rowdy. You lying ugly bitch. You're crazy. Why you into crazy? The camera's on you, crazy. You lying ugly bitch. Whatever nasty shit she was saying with her vulgar mouth. Right? And the other day, she and I had gotten in a fight too. About the shower. We were fighting about the shower because now I'm working in the morning too and I have to get out too. So I'm just trying to reason with her like, look, I need a slot to get into the bathroom too now because I'm going to work in the morning too. She getting nasty about it. Well, I fought hard for this slot and this and that. I said, okay, well, we could still work it out, whatever. I have the text messages. I could go back and read it. She started getting nasty in the text messages, calling me a bitch and this and that. Try it, bitch. Try it, bitch. Like just nasty, rowdy stuff, man. I don't even understand. I'm always taking it to that level. I didn't call her a bitch, much less an ugly bitch. And she knows full well with the targeting that they keep calling me ugly and coming for my self-esteem and the things they're doing. Why would you ever call me an ugly bitch? Why would you do that? And then she said, well, you are what you are. You are what you are. So then I said, ho. I said, and you are what you are. Ho, ho, ho. Because I know a lot about her. We know each other. We're sisters. I know a lot about her. I could say a lot of nasty, low things too. So I said, ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho. I started calling her a ho. Right? And the things started getting real rowdy and nasty. And so I closed myself in the room. I said, let me close off from that toxicity. Let me lay here. I want to make a video and talk about this. And let me get some rest because I just couldn't believe she was going on like that for some vegan meals that was almost done when she just took my whole full container of milk that I had to give away now, a full container of milk, and had it feed in a stray cat. And I even drank some of the stray cat pathogens. And I didn't even flip out on her like that. I couldn't believe it. Anyways, y'all, so I done block her off everything. I blocked her on Facebook. I blocked her in the text. I just livid. And my dad coming in slamming my door. You did shipping it. You did shipping is grabbing my door like I'm the wrong one. grabbing up my door and slamming up the door. Like, why you keep going back? It's you! Why you keep going back and forth? I said, she's out there saying I'm a liar. I'm not lying about this. You slamming up my door and stuff. Anyways, this is what I be talking about with the targeting. And now you have the plane flying by. Anyway, y'all, so that's all I wanted to talk about, man, because it's just an unfair treatment when you're a target, and the crazy shit too. Like, you have to try to stay out of conflict, and sometimes you can't avoid it. In that moment, I shouldn't have used her stuff, period. And I know better too, you know. I didn't know who it belonged to, and I just there's no mayo. I'm like, damn, I want mayo on this burger. I should just fucking not touch that thing. I know better. But sometimes it's just like conflict, and it's just like you are automatically like everyone's ready to hop on you because you're the target. Anyways, I'll talk to y'all in the next one. That's all I want to talk about in this video. Do look forward to Hallucinate, because that poem will be thrown onto my YouTube. And the other poem, Bitch Switch, I'm not putting that up here. But y'all can go over to my band lab and check out Bitch Switch. So I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Peace out. Y'all, there's just 3 corrections that I wanted to make. 3 corrections I wanted to make from the prior clips, y'all. For the square thing where I was talking about that coworker in the kitchen and how he kept calling me a square and like kind of using it out of context. What it is my perception of square has always been that they use it to describe like a nerdy person. And I'll give an example, like Future. When Sierra left Future, you know, he kept cheating on her and running around. You know, Future's your typical bad boy, the guy that the girl will usually choose. Oftentimes girls choose the wrong men. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. I need to... Sorry about that. I'll be right back. Okay, y'all. I'm back. I had to spit real quick. Yeah, what I was talking about, though, was Future. Hold on, y'all. Sorry. Something is in my eye. And you have the noise campaign flying by. Of course, this neighbor that be on top of me with a hammer, too. It's just so irritating. I can't even really explain how irritated... The state of irritation I'm in every day. Anyway, With the square thing, though, y'all, an example I can think of is Future, right? If you look at the story where, I mean, I think most people, especially if you're a millennial or younger, not super young, but I mean like teenage and up, the millennials and the people in their 20s, right? With the situation with Sierra, Russell Wilson, and Future. Future was Sierra's first baby daddy. And he was like your classic bad boy, and Sierra's a good girl. And oftentimes, not always, you know, that's not always the case, but oftentimes this happens often. Good girls are attracted to bad boys. Not always, but it happens often. And so that was just like your typical good girl, bad boy scenario. And she ended up paying the price for it because he's a runaround dude. He had not to make judgment on this, you know, because there are a lot of dudes that, you know, may have been in bad situations and they have different baby mamas and then they find the right woman and they settle down and they turn into the right kind of man or whatever. They say like a man will turn into the right kind of man for the right woman, right? So I'm not judging dudes that are out there that have a bunch of baby mamas. But that's what was going on with Future. He had a bunch of baby mamas before Sierra, and he was known to be the kind of dude that runs around, you know, cheats and all that type of stuff like that. So anyway, he got with Sierra, and I don't know if she felt like she was going to be the one to change him. She did get a ring from him. She's the only one to have, as far as I know, gotten a ring. But they didn't actually get married because he ended up calling off the engagement. He was cheating on her like crazy, got her pregnant. I think he only gave her the ring because she was Sierra, you know, and she was putting the pressure on him because, you know, it's like, you're not going to embarrass me now, you got me pregnant. And I think he, you know, ended up just calling it off. He said she was trying to manage him and tell him what to do too much. She was trying to change him. And he felt like he could have just had her there to the side as another one of his baby mamas that he could always hop back to. Because that's what he does with a lot of these baby mamas that he has. He's known to cycle them and go, you know, hop in between them. And so I think he felt like that's how he was going to have Sierra just there to the side as another one of his little concubines. Sierra upgraded. She got with Russell Wilson, a football player, right? And he's like your classic good guy, right? Somebody's yelling out there and I don't know why. All of a sudden, big yelling outside. I don't understand what's going on. Anyway, so then Sierra got with Russell Wilson. Y'all, let me finish the clip when this is done. I'll finish the clip when the noise is done, y'all. Anyways, y'all, back to what I was saying. So she ended up getting with Russell Wilson, who's a football player, you know, good guy. She was, he accepted her son. He didn't have any kids of his own yet when she got with him. Took her son in that she had with Future like his own and treated her good, married her, and to this day they're still together. They've been together, I think, for now, at this point, it's been almost a decade or maybe a decade. Wow. And they have like 4 kids together now. 3 kids together, whatever. But the point is, Future got mad when Sierra moved on and upgraded, and he held this grudge for years about the fact that she moved on to a better dude and kept throwing subs at Russell and calling Russell a lame and a square, right? And so that does fall in line with the textbook definition. I guess he's saying because he's a goody two-shoes good boy that he's boring and uninteresting because the bad boy has an edge, but also calling him a lame, which references what I was saying, nerdy. That's what I meant when I said nerdy, like somebody that's like falls in line and goody two-shoes and like nerdy good boy type of thing. He's not actually nerdy. He's a football player, right? If you look at him, he doesn't look like a nerd. But that's what I meant when I was saying nerdy. But the way that the guy was using it on me, he told me he was using it because I'm different, he said, or eccentric. And so I said, well, that would be an oxymoron then, because that's the opposite of whatever a square is. And so that's what started to annoy him and some of the other stuff. But that's what I meant when I said nerdy. That's why I brought it up. Just to show you kind of how I started to annoy the guy by being a know-it-all. And then also what I meant when I said nerdy. That's an example of how square is used. I wanted to also correct the scale thing when I was talking about fish, because I listened back to the clip and I realized that I said fish with fins and I meant to say fish with scales. I did in the next line say scales, but I just wanted to specify that's what the dietary laws are, that you're supposed to eat fish that have scales. And that's because those fish that don't have scales typically don't have the same cleaning mechanism, and they usually store toxins within their skin. Like typically those fish that don't have scales have higher mercury levels, etc. And then lastly, also talking about the dietary laws, when I was talking about the cloven foot, I forgot to mention also that eat the cud, because those animals, again, cleaning mechanism, have a cleaner method of eating, and so they're healthier forms of meat. That's all. That's all I wanted to correct y'all. All right, peace out.